Hey, subscribe if you want to win this championship belt. It's from WWEshop.com, and I'm giving it away soon. All right, before we get started with the Dolph Ziggler and debut news, I want to kick things off about NXT with NXT viewership. Honestly, you guys know I don't like talking about viewership on this channel, but a lot of you have requested that I start talking about it, so I'm going to let you guys decide in the comment section down below if you guys want me to talk more about ratings moving forward, whether they're up, whether they're down. I can give you guys my insight if that is something that intrigues you. But sports TV ratings came out with a report. The October 3rd episode of NXT viewership was 857,000 viewers and a .22 in the 18 to 40 demographic. This is obviously significantly more than the previous week, which is great for WWE. If you're somebody who cares about viewership, this is obviously an increase, and you might be wondering, why is there an increase? Well, obviously NXT had the Judgment Day. They had some heavy promotion on Raw because of Dominic Mysterio losing his belt to Trick Williams. Then he got it back at NXT, and then, of course, we had Becky Lynch on the show as well. Look, man, WWE, AEW, they're producing really good products right now. Like, both products are pretty hot. Some good storylines happening in both. Some great moments in both. I know a lot of people pay attention to viewership because they try to use it as an argument to say why one is better than the other. But I don't necessarily see a correlation between creative and ratings. And I know a lot of people might seem to disagree with that. But as you guys know, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday nights, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in this world. And obviously a lot of people have other commitments. Some people watch on DVR. Some people watch, just highlights from YouTube and whatnot. It doesn't necessarily mean that creative is good or bad. Right now, I think WWE NXT is on fire. I think they've been pretty much on fire all year round. But a lot of that is just because they're consistently telling stories. And then, of course, the women's stuff has been very big on their show. But, I mean, I think if you're looking at the overall number, it's a great sign that WWE is doing something right with NXT. I think I will be more interested in viewership when it's WWE versus AEW. Because, obviously, next week, NXT versus AEW Dynamite, it's going to be a big one. Edge debuting against Luchasaurus, and then of course you have John Cena, Asuka, Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes, and so many more confirmed for NXT. But yeah, increase in viewership means people are interested. I think there's other metrics that we should look at as well. But for those who care, NXT is on the rise. Remember this guy? Well, he goes by Fred Rosser, but you might remember him as Darren Young in WWE. AEW revealed that Fred Rosser will be debuting on ROH against Scorpio Sky this week. And there's been no information as to whether or not Fred Rosser will be joining AEW full-time. But obviously this is pretty cool considering ever since he left WWE and went to New Japan, he's been absolutely killing it. This guy's great. Honestly, there's a lot of things I like about him. And it's cool to see that he's, been a very big part of New Japan's expansion in America. But also, it's cool that AEW has these relationships with New Japan that allows, guys to go back and forth and work with each other. I like that. It seems like that bridge between the two, it's very strong. And that foundation to that bridge is very strong. And when you have a strong foundation, these working relationships, they become something very special. Darren Young and Titus O'Neil were so awesome back in WWE. And, like most tag teams where if you're considered a tag team wrestler, a lot of people kind of become a little pessimistic that maybe somebody can't branch off and do single stuff. But I look at Fred Rosser and I look at some of his body of work right now, and it's honestly some of the best he's ever had. And it's something that's actually really inspiring to see that you could break out of a tag team and for so many years you can go outside of WWE and actually do cool things. He's a hell of a talent. Scorpio Sky's a hell of a talent. I'm sure this is going to be a fun watch. I really hate the fact that ROH is behind a paywall because of the fact that there are some cool things happening in ROH, but not everybody has access to it, and I think we often ignore this. We talk about Impact and their TV deal and how sometimes it could be detrimental to them, but when I look at ROH not having a real TV deal, a lot of people aren't able to experience some of the cool stuff that they're producing, and it's kind of unfortunate considering that people are missing out on quite a bit. Fred Rosser making his debut for ROH is cool. I'm excited to see what this looks like. And, I'm excited to see if AEW tries to make a play for him in the future. Like I said, they have that relationship with New Japan, so it's not necessarily the case where they have to go and sign him, but utilizing more often could be a really cool thing. And we'll see how that goes, right? I think if you're AEW, you just gotta balance your roster, and if you're gonna have these working relationships, you gotta balance that as well. So you don't want to do too much or too little. You just got to find the right balance. So hopefully he comes in. Hopefully it's a fun match, and hopefully we get to see more of him. Because again, like I said, I've been really impressed with him ever since he left WWE, and he's killing it, man. He's killing it, doing some good stuff. Excited to see what happens next. And that brings us to our final story of the day, Dolph Ziggler. Guys, you know how I am about certain sources when we talk about stuff. You may hear it on this channel quite often. Take things with a grain of salt. But this one kind of seems like a no-brainer. SliceWrestling.com came out with a report suggesting that AEW is having discussions to sign Nick Nemeth, also known as Dolph Ziggler, to All Elite Wrestling. For those who don't know, Dolph Ziggler's brother is Ryan Nemeth, who is currently signed to AEW. And Slice goes on to say that Tony Khan likes Nicholas's hard work. He likes Dolph Ziggler. Okay, I'm not going to use his real name. That's stupid. Tony Khan likes Dolph Ziggler's hard work ethic and professionalism. And along with Adam Copeland, these two would be looked upon as locker room leaders, which will be a positive influence in the AEW locker room. Guys, I can't argue this. Who knows the validity of the report? We've covered some stuff from Slice in the past, and there's been some pretty good accuracies in the past. Not everything always pans out, obviously. But I think it's a no-brainer that Dolph ends up finding his way to AEW. And it makes a lot of sense that he goes to AEW because he also wants to do his acting and his comedy and stuff like that. AEW is like the perfect place where guys can do that sort of thing, where they can kind of just... They don't have to be wrestling all the time. They don't have to be... They have an easier schedule and whatnot. And also, too, look, I used to get really annoyed with AEW signing a lot of people, right? And to a certain extent, I do. Just like I do with WWE. WWE releases talent. AEW doesn't. But we know that AEW is obviously not extending every contract. So the issue of signing more people isn't necessarily an issue anymore, as long as he continues to use certain talent that I would like to see. Dolph Ziggler is going to be a great locker room leader, breath of fresh air for the backstage stuff. You want that kind of thing. And if I'm throwing out some fantasy booking, I know some people might not like this, but it would be cool to see Dolph Ziggler and Ryan Nemeth tag team together. And go for those tag titles. It would be really cool. They're brothers. They're actually real life brothers. So it'd be cool to see that. That's something that WWE didn't obviously do. That's something that AEW can do. But just having that positivity in the backstage arena, it's so important. This company is getting far away from the drama. And as long as the drama doesn't come back, additions like this are obviously no-brainer. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see Dolph in AEW? I'm cool with it. Guys from WWE will go there. Guys from AEW will go to WWE. I think this would be a good pickup. And don't forget, this would also be a good pickup. All you got to do is click subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace.